This episode of the Empty Netters podcast is brought to you by the crisp, refreshing taste of LABATT Blue Light. Guys, the playoffs are stressful. I got double OT games. I got one goal games. I got breakaways. I need to take the edge off. What do I turn? LABATT Blue Light, because it's brewed with Canadian kindness in every single sip. So when you're watching hockey, when you're hanging out with your friends, summertime's almost here, I'm telling you, the only place to turn to is LABATT Blue Light. Open that cooler, grab a bottle, grab a can, crack it open, and cheers with us today.
On this episode of the Empty Netters podcast, we've got new coaches in the NHL. Some are surprises, some are not.
Chris Kreider natural hat-tricked himself into becoming a living New York legend.
The Dallas Stars are heartbreakers, and they are headed straight to the Western Conference Final.
And we have a scorching Game 7 tonight.
Ice is ready, and we are back with another episode of the Empty Netters podcast. We've got a lot of stuff going on right now, a lot of milestones.
Dude, it's a big day, ladies and gentlemen.
It's a big day. This is our 100th episode of the Empty Netters podcast. I can't believe it. Here on the eve of the conference finals in the 2024 Stanley Cup playoffs.
And we're here in New York City.
Yes.
MCM Stages.
Yes.
Hosting us, being heroes for the 100th.
Shout out MCM.
Snuck up on me too, eh? I was looking at the Spotify tracking, and it was like last week was 99. I had to tell you, you didn't even know. You didn't even know.
I'm going to be perfectly honest. Hand up, I had no idea. I had no idea it was our 100th episode, but, you know, they say time flies when you're having fun, and 100 episodes creeps up when you're having a blast.
This has been a grind.
So, yeah, it's time has been slogging along like a true slow-churned butter that just tastes rancid and awful.
Our
That's how
100th
much
and
I hate
last
this.
episode. I was just trying to get to 100, and now we're done. Thank you all for listening and following along. What a ride.
But this is amazing, doing episode 100 with all of you. And then also, you know that we've been in New York. I was hitting the Instagram asking you guys what's the best chicken parm in New York. I got a bunch of great answers. I'm going to be doing all of that. But we are in New York because, along with our dear, dear friend Anna Dua, CP and I will be hosting Stanley Cup Central on the NHL YouTube and YouTube TV channel every single night for the conference finals. Pretty exciting stuff.
Yeah, so if you are like, God, these guys do 2 pods a week. They play all these games on their page. If only I could hear them ramble a little bit more, then you are in luck, my friend.
If you just wanted to hear us yap a couple more times, you're going to get to do it every single night. So head over to that NHL YouTube TV and YouTube channel, and you will see us on TV every single night, watching the games, breaking stuff down. We're going to have amazing guests from NHL stars to celebrities to other professional athletes. We're going to be doing games with Anna. We're going to be shooting the shit, having a blast, hanging out with our boy Pierre Maguire, who's going to be a host with us as well. Story time with Pierre will be electric. It's going to be so fun. Make sure you tune in every night, because when you're watching the games, you want a little aside. You want to hear what we're talking about. You want to hear how the game's getting broke down. You want to have some fun during the commercial breaks. We got your back.
Yeah, that's my job.
There you go. For now, let's get into our No Buckie Warm Up and get into what's going on right now with the NHL. Our No Buckie Warm Up is the top 5 stories in the NHL right now. Number 5. Talking about 5 years.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Rod the Bod gets extended 5 years in Carolina after losing to the New York Rangers in 6 games and a cataclysmic collapse in the third period that would have sent it to Game 7. Rod the Bod is back in Carolina for 5 more years. Are you surprised, and what do you think?
I'm not surprised.
Not surprised at all.
Yeah, but I stand by, and you said it many times, I stand by, if they had been swept, it's a different story. And
if
everyone's they're like, no chance they fire Rod. And I'm like, dude, if they get not swept again, how do you just run it back over and over? And I have some quotes I'm going to say later, but once they got past the sweep, honestly, I know you kind of felt that way even 5. Once they avoided the sweep, I was like,
once they avoided the gentleman sweep, I was like, once they avoided the sweep, I was like, he probably won't get fired.
Yeah.
But once they avoided the gentleman sweep, I was like, he's definitely not getting fired. And I was proud of him. I was like, good job.
Yeah.
Dude. Like that. Those were 2 good wins.
Let me give you some stats, man.
I mean, let's be honest. Game 5 was a kicking.
Yes, it was.
So, well done.
278, 130, and 44 in the regular season in his time in Carolina. Tremendous.
I mean, that's tremendous.
Won the Jack Adams Award in 2021.
Well deserved.
3 consecutive seasons of 50-plus wins.
Unbelievable.
Won their first division title since 2005.
Yep.
36 and 32 in the playoffs.
I mean, it's not bad. That's the thing that's frustrating. Here's what I have to say. I have had the pleasure of briefly speaking to Rod a couple of times.
Yep.
I think he is. I thought he was an unbelievable player. He's my type of player.
Yeah.
A grindy, selkie winner who's going to get you some points. He's a locker room leader. That is translated so brilliantly to being a coach. Clearly, he gets the boys up to play for him. He's got an eclectic bunch of guys there.
Yep.
Think about that. You've got real serious professionals like Jacob Slavin and Jordan Stahl. You've got incredibly young, fun talents like Seth Jarvis and Andrei Svechnikov. And then you've got the filler guys, and by filler, I mean who are a little bit of a blend of both, like guys like Brady Shea, guys like Dmitry Orlov. And you have put this team together, and somehow every season you get them up to a level that's playing playoff-style hockey all regular season long, and he's done it for 3 straight years. That's very impressive.
When Jarvie was on, he's telling the F1 story, and you hear, and I'll read a couple quotes, but I just think the guys like him so much. So
I think he's a guy's guy. I think he's a locker room guy. I think
this is Burnsy.
Perfect.
I think he has a special relationship with a lot of guys. I think it's definitely a great thing to get to play for a guy like that. Every day, you never know what you're going to hear. For him, he's been through a lot. He's won. He's been through that grind for a long time. But it's more than that. It's his personality. It's his energy that you can't make up. It oozes out of him. That's a special thing for a team. And then Jordan Stahl, the guys know what Roddy's all about and what he means to the organization and really the person that he is. They
clearly love him.
Yeah, they clearly love him, and you hear shit all the time of Tree Living just said it with Keith, where it's like sometimes the messaging isn't just hitting home. You got to change the voice in the room, whatever.
Yeah.
This, as much as I want to dog the Canes, and we'll get into that more when we talk about the game, but this isn't a situation where I feel in any way that the boys aren't enjoying what Rod is cooking, if you know what I'm saying.
I completely
they
agree
are
with
so happy to be like, dude, that's our guy. Bring it back in. Bring him back. Bring us back, and let's make another bit at this. And good for him. I'm pumped. I'm glad he's still a coach in this league. Now, the league would be a much sadder, emptier place if he wasn't there.
No doubt. I will say this. I think that the Hurricanes are we have a Marvin Lewis situation now.
Okay, yeah.
Where Marvin Lewis with the Cincinnati Bengals, they would have, playoff loss after 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 playoff loss, and wouldn't get fired. Mm-hmm. And I don't think Rod should have been fired. But I think getting a 5-year extension heading into what I believe is going to be the hardest summer of Rod's life is a pretty wild move, because we have a situation here where you've got RFAs in Natchez, Jarvis, and Jack Drury, amongst others. You have UFAs in Jake Gensel, Martinuk, Nason, and Teravainen. And that's complicated.
Yep.
So you're not going to be able to bring everyone back. When that Gensel trade was made, I think a lot of people were like, damn, Gensel in Carolina for the next 8 years. And it's like, well, he didn't sign, so we'll see. So
they have to bring him back.
Oh my gosh.
They have to bring him back.
You have to bring him back. But, I mean, dude, the thought of, what is it? They have 27 mil in cap space.
Okay. It's a good haul.
Yeah. But you've also got, I'm pretty sure Shea is he not signed either? Yeah. You've got D'Angelo, Pesci, and Shea.
Yeah.
Also UFA. So my point is 27 mil in cap space. Natchez, Jarvie, and Gensel alone could take that up, in my opinion. So what are you going to do with all those other guys?
Dude, would you, if Rod doesn't win a cup, does he see out that full contract?
Yes.
So even if they just lose in the playoffs, second round every year,
if he makes it to the playoff, if he makes it to the cup one of those years, like that's a success still. Like we don't talk about enough how hard it is to win playoff series, let alone the cup. If he gets to the Eastern Conference Finals again, loses in 7, loses in 6, I'm like, that's a successful season, dude. It's it's interesting. So I was just surprised to see him get a 5-year extension heading into this summer.
Yeah.
Because there is a lot of work for that team to do.
But they want him to do it. They're like, you do it. You be the guy
And I
that's
think
building
that
this.
is the right call. He is the guy to do it. But my point is, 5 years is a lot because let's say he does what he does. Maybe he doesn't bring Gensel back. Maybe he's like, we're sticking with our homegrown guys. We're gonna
get out of here.
We're gonna give Jarvie, or no, not so much that. It's like we're gonna give Jarvie and Nate just 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
We're not gonna give Gensel 8 years. Oh, Gensel's amazing, but like these are the guys who've been here from the beginning. We're gonna stick with them.
Yeah.
We're gonna let Gensel go, and then next year they get swept in the first round, and you go, that 5-year deal.
You're fired.
Looks pretty tough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't think that's going to happen, but it could happen, and that's when you're like, Jesus Christ. But the guy's clearly made of Teflon in Carolina, and he can just do anything.
Whatever he wants. Yep.
It's unbelievable.
Number 4.
Congrats to Rod. Story number 4, sticking with the coach thing. I'm pretty sure someone called this on Twitter.
Yeah, I think I did see a tweet. And also, shout out to, actually, maybe he doesn't want to be named.
Don't shout it out.
But shout out to our anonymous buddy.
Yeah, our insider.
Our insider, who
gave me the info.
Has a source.
Your boy broke the news that Berube is the new coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs. And then fucking Frank Saravelli comes waltzing in a day later and breaks it and doesn't give me credit.
Yeah. Honestly, dude, I think...
all these guys talking about give credit.
First of all, dude, actually...
keep in mind, I'm kidding. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, and I got a bone to pick with you, actually.
Yeah.
Because the source came through me.
I know.
And then we were talking about it, and we're talking to the source, and we're like, hey, should we launch this? Like, how sure are you? And he's like, pretty sure. And then I'm thinking... we're going to post this on Netters, and it's going to be sick, and I'm going to be like, oh, I participated in that. And then you, like a little fucking snake, goes personal tweet and cuts me out of it. I've been cut out of this equation.
Permission to defend myself.
Granted.
We didn't know for sure.
Correct.
I took a risk. I was pretty certain because we heard it from our boy. I then heard it from a couple other sources, and I was like, okay, this is happening. I didn't want to put Empty Netter's credibility on the line. I was willing to die.
Yeah. But, dude, I think... Okay.
I was willing to die.
Yep.
Because I was like, if I get this wrong, then I go like this. I heard something, thought I'd take a shot.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do that from Netters.
Yep. Okay, well, first of all, now... I wish we had because I think there's a chance.
I did quote tweet it.
I know. I saw it.
And I was like, Insider DP, like day, that for that day too.
Yep.
So I was like, we were on it.
I think there's a chance we get maybe some love from Frank if it's from Netters instead of your personal.
Yeah, maybe.
Also,
either way, I've got a bone to pick with Frank.
Also, I think in the next time we have a great source. The rumblings.
It's a safe word.
I know, but it was too safe.
No.
Yeah, it was too safe. I'm hearing rumblings. If you said, I'm being told Berube's the coach, then I think Frank goes, okay.
I think my size in the world, if I was like, Craig Berube is the new coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs, I think people are like, this is like some Twitter egg, a clown. But the fact that I was like,
which is what you are.
I'm hearing this. Which is what I am, dude. Crack me open and make an omelet with me.
Okay. Oh, dude, I actually want to say this too.
I can't wait for the Savard thing to happen though.
I know.
That's the second part that people will be like, oh shit.
Dude.
So shout out our source.
Yeah.
You're the best.
What I am surprised by is, remember the other day on TNT, Berube said something that was like,
dude, Biz.
And Biz
they were
was
talking
like,
about the Leafs, and like Biz was like, they need you in Toronto to be the new head coach, Chief. And he was like,
well, and Biz like even chirped him or something. Like, Berube said something to Biz, and Biz was like, "Careful, or I'll tell everyone you're the next Toronto head coach."
That's.
And I was like, "Did he know then?"
Well, I think Berube knew
because that's an unhinged
Berube definitely
chirp.
knew because Berube's face was not. He was like, "Yo, chill." So either Biz knew, but Berube definitely knew.
Which is an unhinged chirp on live television. If you knew.
Busy, you're out of control.
All right, so what do you think, Dan? 32nd head coach in Leafs history. Was 6 seasons a head coach on the Blues, where he had a 206, 132, and 44 record, 597 win percentage. He also was the Flyers head coach for 2 seasons, and his career win percentage is 584. Do you like the hiring?
I really love Craig Berube.
Yeah.
He obviously won a Stanley Cup in 2019 with the Blues, the biggest Mickey Mouse Cup of all time.
Yep.
But that's not taking it away from him. His name's on the cup. I think Berube is. Everyone keeps showing that clip of Berube giving a pump up speech, and then it overlapped with Keefe's pump up speech and how impossibly different they are. Keefe is a guy. And first of all, I kind of hate that because I'm like, that's a random clip of Keefe. Like, that's not to say Keefe never gets fired.
That's the most fired up he ever was in his whole career.
Like, give me a break, dude. But Keefe is I think Keefe's the type of guy who's going to put his arm around you and be like, hey, like I'm going to, take care, not coddle you, but I'm going to take care of you. And I think he's a great coach for that reason. Berube is going to motherfuck you. Mm-hmm. And I think this Toronto Maple Leafs team could use a little bit of that. I think Berube will be really good with the media.
Okay.
I think he'll handle how annoying they are pretty well.
But like by tortsing them? Like, is he gonna motherfuck the media too?
Yeah. I don't think he's gonna full torch them, but I don't think he'll be pushed around. I think if the media starts being cunty with him, he'll be like, "Get out of my face, dude." Whatever. That said, I'm just not sure, man. I think the issues are the issues with this Leafs team are well beyond the coach.
Yeah.
So to me, it's a Band-Aid for a bullet wound in a way, in that I'm like, well, dude, if you don't address the personnel issues, if you don't get a better goalie, no offense, Wall, no offense, Sammy, you're not going to change anything here. I think Berube's a great locker room guy. I think he's really good for the boys in the locker room and on the bench. I don't know that I think his in-game adjustments are perfect for this team. I'm not sure his tactics are perfect for this team. I think it'll be interesting who they get for his AC. It'll be interesting to who they get for their power play. If it's Savard, that'd be sweet. But I think that there are missing pieces still, like significant missing pieces. This is not the personnel was there. They just needed a different voice. This is a good voice, but more things need to happen.
Dude, wouldn't you say that? And Shanny made those quotes a while ago that was like, I forget exactly what he said, but it sounded as though Marner's maybe gone or someone's gone. It sounded as though he was accepting that this group can't just run it back again.
Yes.
However, nothing has happened yet. And for the guy, for the dude firmly in the camp that's like, maybe they could run it back.
Yeah.
The Berube is a hire to me, which you could do that. Or it's one step in a direction of they just needed a tougher guy.
Yeah.
And Quenneville would have been the same.
Yeah.
If they had brought in some young players, a Montgomery type, a young players coach from college ranks who's like, yeah, dude, I love the guys. We're good. It's all good here. If they had done that, I would be thinking 100% someone's gone because they have to change something. But this is a hire to me where I'm like, maybe they are just going, hey, they just need someone to be tougher on them.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying if they're going to keep that core four together, this is a hire in which you could argue, you could start rationalizing why you would do that.
I feel you. It's a situation where I heard a lot of people being like, who would want that job?
Yeah.
And part of me is like, true. Like,
agreed,
it's insane.
Yeah.
Then the other side of me is like, who wouldn't want that job? You get to coach the Toronto Maple Leafs in the mecca of hockey. That's pretty sweet. But it does come with if you're not winning, you're probably getting flamed all the time.
Yep.
That kind of sucks. But I don't know. I think Berube is the type of guy who can deal with it. I don't know. I hate to pull this card, but like, I just don't know what to say about them. I don't think anything changes until they make significant changes.
Yeah.
They need to bite the bullet. They do.
Yeah.
They need to just fucking deal with it and be like, sorry, dude, Marner for Saros, straight up, do it now. And then I'm like, now we're talking, baby.
Now
like,
we're cooking.
Like, something's gonna change here, baby. Let's go. So I'm not flinching.
Dude, you want
really.
to talk about accountability? That actually would send more reverbs for the locker room than a tough coach, I think. Like, does Matthews really need to be yelled at more? If Matthews got yelled at more, we'd win.
I completely agree.
Like, I kind of think if you're like, yo, Marner, you are out, I think then you're like, yo, boys.
Yeah, and I'm like this, oh, Austin, you sad?
Yeah.
You sad that your buddy's gone? I'd rather that than like being like, you guys need to toughen up. Because I think they're straight up like this, we're fine, dude.
Yeah.
Like, we're not tough.
Agreed.
What are you talking about? All right, are you prepared for number 3?
No.
Number 3, Bruins-Panthers series. Bees fall in 6 games to the Florida Panthers, second year in a row, getting eliminated in the playoffs by the Florida Panthers. Those little rats, those little cats.
Damn.
How do you feel?
Damn. I'm bummed, dude. But I think the Panthers are better. I picked them to win.
Yep.
In six,
In
right?
6, yeah. Yep.
So that's what happened. But you just, like you said, like you called before the series started, I was like, whatever, dude. It's house money. We beat the Leafs, and we're gonna lose in 6. And then I didn't get suckered into game 1 like a lot of people I know were like, we tagged them in game 1, and everyone's like, oh my god, we're gonna sweep the Panthers.
Revenge tour, baby.
And I was
we're
like,
gonna
no,
sweep
no.
them. Yeah.
But you start to believe a little bit. In the same way, I'm sure Canes fans are starting to believe we weren't in an as dire a situation, but just you get that Game 5 win in Florida, Swayman's out of his mind, and I'm doing you win in Boston, and then. So I'm bummed, but they're the better team, and they went on. I got a couple things to say. First of all, pumped for Pavel Zacha, first career playoff goal, which was long overdue. And a nice one, though, buddy. Sick pass from DeBrusk. And then Zacha in a breakaway, little forehand, backhand. How's your father? I heard he's been sick. Dude, under the bar. And just like an unbelievable way to get the monkey off your back.
That was a cheese job, for sure. Yeah, listen. I didn't get sucked in. I didn't feel as sad as you. I was obviously sad. I was watching the Bruins lose bothers me.
Never fun.
I hate that. I was quick, though, and I got on Twitter to say it. I think this Bruins team should be incredibly proud.
Yeah.
And it's so rare when your team loses in the playoffs to feel that way. What was it, 3 years ago? We got bounced by the Canes in, I think, how many games?
7, I think.
And I remember being like, damn, like they were better than us. And I was just like, we don't look good. Like, this is just an awkward, and I didn't feel any sort of positivity from that one. This one, I'm like, the Panthers are so good. I said, and this has nothing to do with the mentality of this Bruins team. It has to do with the roster and the uncomfortable situation of losing Bergeron and Krejci. And you lost Burt, you lost Orlov, you lost Hathaway. Like, there was a ton of change from last season to this season. And I was like, I think maybe second round is probably realistic for this team. And then they borderline went wire to wire first in the Atlantic, had an unbelievable season, and they lost in the second round to the former Eastern Conference champions. Like, that's a great year. So it's a lot to be proud of. I think the fight to get it to 6 games was awesome. More than anything, I am just like so blown away and proud of Jeremy Swayman.
Yeah.
That was in a situation where you were, 1A, 1B all season long. You come into the playoffs, the questions were asked, what do we do? They decided to go tandem. Sway wins, Ullmark loses. Sway goes back in net, and it was like, what are we doing here? It was Sway's net from then on. And by God, was it Sway's net. He's played insane every single game. He's just proven to every person on earth that he is a certified blue chip goaltender in the NHL. And it's just awesome to see.
Dude, I was so frustrated. That game was so frustrating because it
sucked.
Pasta had a breakaway. There were so many chances to score, which has been the story of the season, certainly the series. Not enough goals on that Bees team. That's the biggest issue going into the offseason.
Yep.
And then we just can't clear a puck.
Dude.
The tying goal, DeBrusk takes one off DeBrusk's 50th block of the game. Played a great game. It's just sitting there for 20 minutes, and then it's shot in. And then the goal, if we were gonna lose, I wanted it to be a sick pass backdoor on the power play, tap in breakaway, or one honestly that even though this would hurt in the moment, one that hits one of our own defensemen and goes in, where just kind of Sway has no chance. And it was a weird one. Wotherspoon, it's like between his legs, puck's on edge, But I just hated that it was one of those stupid seeing eye through the 7-hole shots, And I'm like, God damn it, dude. So that was a killer. But again, I said in the vid, I'm happy for Florida. And I think you tweeted maybe. I don't get why everyone clowns on them. I know the Bennett stuff, but they're a pretty fun team. And Paul Maurice is a hoot. I love him, and they're exciting to watch. So if you like hockey, you can continue to root for the Panthers. I will say this, Dan. Matthew Tkachuk, who I love, was kind of selling. He wasn't literally throwing his gloves, but he was doing the jump in the air thing with 6 seconds left. We had the goalie pulled, and they got it into the neutral zone, and he started going ballistic, and then we took it back into the zone. And I was like, hey, dude, this game is likely over, but I need you to stop jumping up and down with 6 seconds left. I would keep an eye on that in the future, dude. If they win the cup, he's going to be celebrating at the start of the third period.
Yeah, that's a little reckless. Wait for the buzzer.
Chill, dude.
Are you prepared to talk like Bruin situation next steps right now for a second?
Yes, but don't go too in the weeds.
Yeah, I'm not going to get too into the weeds, but this has been obviously a huge topic of discussion all season long. Bruins are set to have roughly $22 to $25 million in cap space this summer. You have to extend Swayman, which I imagine will be announced literally any moment.
Yep.
We've heard whispers of it already being wrapped up. I would guess that's going to be in the $7 to $8 million a year situation, and it better be 8 years.
Yeah.
But you now are staring down the barrel of you brought up Pavel Zacha.
Yep.
Pavel Zacha in 25 playoff games has 1 goal.
Yeah, not it. That's not it.
After he had a brilliant regular season. Pavel Zacha is on, I think, something like 4.5 mil a year. The questions going into this year were you're replacing Patrice Bergeron and David Krejci as your 1 and 2 centers with Charlie Coyle and Pavel Zacha. Is that enough? Those two played incredibly well, but like you said, there's not enough goals on this team. And I think you see that in a situation where we come into these playoffs and Charlie Coyle and Pavel Zacha combined for what? 2? 3?
Yeah, I wanted a better
2 or 3 goals
run from Coyle, dude.
2 or 3 goals in 13 games.
Yep.
Like, guys, that ain't it. So everyone knows they need a center. And you also
go.
Well, I was just gonna say you also have the situation of like, do you bring Jake DeBrusk back? Jake DeBrusk has been a great playoff player.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I think he led the team in points and goals. And how much is he going to ask for? Is probably going to be $5 million or more.
Oh, more.
I think that's too much money.
Yep.
And if he wants that and someone's going to give it to him, absolutely go get it.
Yep.
People are talking about bringing Pat Maroon back for $1 million, like the Lucic deal. And like, obviously that didn't work out for terrible reasons, but I just like, what's that?
Alleged.
Yeah. It's just like, I think this team, which has been, I'm not sure you could name more than 2 teams in the NHL, if that, with a better culture than the Boston Bruins. And that is not Homer shit. Mm-hmm. Ask anyone who has been in that locker room, who has since left, by the way, and been like, what do you think about the Bruins culture? And they'd be like, it's the best in the league.
Lyles just said it.
Exactly.
Yep.
So they are fine in that regard. But I do think that the Jacobs family and Sweeney and Neely need to take a long look in the mirror on this whole, like, yeah, we bring in, like, tough, like, salt-of-the-earth guys.
Yeah.
Well, how has that gone for you since 2011? I think they need to take a real hard look in the mirror and go, if we want to become a contender again, a real contender, and when you have guys like Jeremy Swayman in net and Charlie McAvoy on defense and David Pastrnak playing for you, if you don't go, we should go get a Jake Gensel, we should go get a Sam Reinert, we should go get a Steve Stamkos, we should maybe make a trade for someone who is, we've heard that Nikolai Ehlers is on the trade block.
Yep.
There's rumors of some other big players that might be on the trade block. If you aren't seriously considering, like, we need to make a big move for the first time since, not being an asshole, but, like, what's the last big free agent splash we got? Chara and Savard?
Yeah.
Like, you need to consider that if you're the Boston Bruins, if you really want to be a contender again. They've made great trades.
Huge summer.
Taylor Hall was a big trade. Like, but you need this summer to be as big as possible.
You talk about a big summer for Carolina. This is a gargantuan summer.
Gargantuan.
For the Boston Bruins. Number two. Stars Avs. Great hockey game.
I kind of wanted a Game 7 just because of Game 7s are sick. This game and Matt Duchene scoring in double overtime.
Oh, yeah.
Was we said in round 1 when they got past the Knights, and we said as they were up in this series 3-1.
Yep.
We were like we might be witnessing the Dallas Stars growing up. They're grown men now. And that all these games could go either way, right?
Dude.
It's like last year, even this year, the Hurricanes. It's like they're, Rod last year when he's like, that didn't feel like a sweep to me. And this year it's like, we played great. We were with them every single game. And I'm like, yeah, but you lost. You keep losing games. This was dude, that was a big boy win.
Especially because they did what you got to do in that Game 6 on the road. They weathered the first period, right? You knew Colorado's going to come out flying. They had the better first period. And then completely settled into their game. The Avs got 3 shots in the second period. And then one of them was a power play that Moose finally capitalized on.
Yeah.
And you go down 1-0. And then to start the third, immediately Jamie Benn, captain move. Nice goals after a sick pass again by Dodonov. That was disgusting. It was like that second chip and you just one touch backhand. So you tie it right away in the third. And then that felt like it was going to be one of those 10 OT games.
Oh my
I was
God.
like, here we go. I was at a bar by myself.
Yeah.
I was like, I was in it for the long haul, dude. And then, man, so pumped for Dutchy because he makes that whole play. It's like him and Pav playing catch in the corner. He gets it up front, sneaks out back, bang. A couple things. I feel bad for Nate because he was on the ice. He's like the center on the ice in that shift.
Like that clip
He's
of
like
him
falling
sitting
down
on his ass and just like staring into space. I'm like, damn.
But don't you think, actually not necessarily don't you think, which do you think? Because I've experienced both, unfortunately. When you lose an OT, would you rather, I think I'd rather be that, though, where I'm sitting there being like, damn it.
Oh, I'd rather be on the ice
than on the bench.
I'd rather be on the ice.
Because on the bench,
the dash hurts so much.
Blows.
But I think it hurts worse than being on the bench and going, I could have done something about it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. At least now I know.
What I would have done is lose.
But
still, at least I would have been
I'm
out
not
there.
good enough to stop that, but at least you know. So I felt horrible for him, but I felt so good for Dutchy, though, because it's only a second playoff goal. But, dude, think about, we've said this before, his journey. Like getting bought out by Nashville, ends up in which he loves. He loves that place, that city, ends up in a similar city, cool city, on a super exciting team. And he gets that moment, dude, as they're on the way to the Western Finals.
Obviously, Dutchy, our boy, the inaugural Empty Netters guest. That said, I thought it was a little savage how he heartbreakered them because I would have loved that moment against Nashville. I would have loved that moment against Nashville because they motherfucked him. They bought him out.
Yep.
They sent his ass packing, and then he has since had an unbelievable 30-goal year.
Yeah.
Against Colorado, the team that he kind of was like, fuck you, I'm out.
Yeah.
Like, Colorado didn't bail on him.
Joe Sakic's his hero, dude.
Yeah.
His literal hero. Joe Sakic watching on the 9th floor, dude, and Dutchy comes through and punches him in the face.
It felt a little savage. I was a little bit like, Dutchy, chill, bro.
Dude, and also...
Like, I love it. It was a sick man moment. He's a sick man. Person. But I was like, dude, chill. Like, what did they do to you?
So I couldn't tell, because we joke all the time in the Premier League, I love how dudes that don't, when they score against their old club, they don't celebrate. Yeah. And obviously you're going to celebrate that double OT goal.
Have to.
But it was kind of crazy, I agree, that I was like, where... This isn't even ignore his ties to Colorado.
Yeah.
I'm just talking team rivalry.
Yeah.
This doesn't even feel like a team rivalry thing. Like who did Kaner do that against? Was it the Canucks?
He's heartbreakered everyone.
But he the first time he ever did it.
Oh yeah, I forget.
I think it was the Canucks. I can't remember, but it was just like a team that they couldn't, because then when the Canucks eventually beat them, it's like the Slay the Dragon game because we could never get past the Hawks. I think that's why it was them. But yeah, to me it's more a team thing. Like I am breaking the hearts of every fan here because you can't beat us. And I was like, does this animosity exist between Dallas and Colorado?
I think Dutchy did it just because he was like, you lost in double OT.
Double T, heartbreaker. Yeah.
I don't think there was. I think maybe afterwards he was probably like, ooh. People are gonna read into the Colorado thing of this, but that's and I did. I read that book cover to cover, and I was like, shit, dude, that was a little intense, but it was sick.
But is that Kane's thing? Like he did that?
Yeah, he's called the Heartbreak Kid.
Yeah,
I was a bit like, oh, interesting, but whatever, sick. It's a sick break. I mean, it's.
I guess that's my question. Is that Selly public domain? It's Kane's thing that anyone can do it?
It's Shawn Michaels' thing, right?
Yeah,
that's really what it is. It's not...
Right, so Kane stole it.
Yeah, well, he borrowed it.
Everyone's borrowing it.
You can borrow it.
Just return it. Just make sure you return it.
Something that rattles me about this Colorado team, and I'm curious your thoughts on this, because these guys are so young. Actually, I do want to say this, man. That game was insane.
Oh my God.
Watching that game and those two teams, I was live tweeting it. I was like, these two teams are the best teams in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like Dallas and Colorado. And we were like, whoever wins this is going to the Cup from the West. Dude, the speed, and you know I'm the biggest Roaches guy in the world, and I'm also banging the Florida drum. Like, those two teams are great. They are not moving like stars in Colorado in that game.
Yep.
That was insane. Watching those two teams and watching the way Nate was skating around, bobbing and weaving in the zone, getting pucks on net. Like, he must have been so frustrated by Otter because he was buzzing out there. And I'm telling you, that was the third period and then the first overtime, second overtime, they were definitely a little worn down.
Yep.
Those 2 periods was the most electrifying hockey of these playoffs. I couldn't believe how fast the game was. It was, and I'm telling you, no one on the East was touching that.
Yeah.
So far. So I was like, holy shit. What do you think about this? Colorado gets close-ish in 2020. They win in 2021. Then Landy gets hurt, and they lose in round 1 last year. Then this year, Landy's still out.
It lost Val last year too. No
Lost
Landy,
Val,
no Val
lost
last
Val
year.
last year too.
No Landy, no Val.
Then this year they have no Landy. Taves goes down for a couple games,
Yep.
and then they lose Val again. I'm starting to worry that these devastating situations where the cap fucks them too is possibly stealing prime years from this Colorado core.
Yeah, like they
Like,
actually did build it correctly, and they just got unlucky.
Dude, this Dallas team is insane. But add a healthy Gabriel Landeskog captain to that team and a clear-minded, mind-right Valerie Nichushkin to that roster. You're telling me that they don't have a shot at winning that series?
A shot, dude. They're the heavy favorites.
And I feel I look at Nate sitting on his ass at the end of that overtime, just staring at the boards, so devastated, clearly. And I feel like he is like, what is happening, dude? Like, we are the best team.
Yeah.
And we're just decimated.
We are the oldest boy.
I am the oldest boy.
How old is Nate?
I think Nate's 28, maybe.
Second.
But I do worry. I mean, that team has really crafted itself on a business mindset. Nate obviously has all of his quirks, and that's great. But I do think that they're a very serious team. I think regular season and playoffs, that locker room is no bullshit. And players know that. Like, when players are going to sign there, that's obvious. It's an unbelievable city. It's an unbelievable team with great culture, one of the best GMs in the game. One of the great captains in the game. I'm going to call Nate the captain for purposes of being on the ice. But you sign with that team knowing, like, we're not the Stars, we're not Vegas, we're not Florida, we're not having fun. Like, I think Florida, Dallas, Vegas, those are teams that are like, we're having a fucking blast.
Yeah, like we're going out together after.
Yeah, like we're having a blast.
Playing VGs. We're playing Smash Bros together.
And
Shotgun Yoshi.
I think Colorado, Boston, I think the Rangers, to an extent, are teams that are like, we have fun, but like we're gonna stand on business. Here.
Pick up your brown bag lunch.
And,
go to work, dude.
And it's like the kind of the Patriots mindset. It's like we're here because we're trying to win.
Winning's fun.
And I just feel bad that they built the team right, and they found themselves incredibly unlucky with guys like Landy and guys like Val.
Yeah, it's an extremely tough break, but they are fine. Question mark?
Fine
like,
question
I
mark,
think
dude.
So,
you go into next season and you have Val and Landy's cap hit.
Yeah.
Like, you can't sign people.
Right. Well, maybe they're back. Maybe they're both back. Maybe Landy's hip's right. Val's mind's right.
Knee.
Too, right? And knee. Yeah, he's got a lot of issues.
It's crazy.
Exciting series, though. That was everything I wanted it to be.
Phenomenal.
Number 1 story this week.
Hit me.
Chris Kreider scores a natural hat trick.
I mean, come on.
Come on. It's the most cockroachy game of all time, dude.
It was the most cockroachy game of all time. And I'll tell you what, Rangers fans, you're welcome. Because, again, I was the only one who believed. And I got on that post, and I gave it to you because they quit. And I get it. I understand being the nervous fan. You had a lot of heartbreak.
Me too.
And then here you're up 3-0, you lose 1, you lose 2. Now you're down 3-1 in the third period of the third game in a row, and just enough with the we're cooked. This team's dead. This team's finished. If you want to be like this, I feel horrible right now. I want to die. Fine. Don't say this team's cooked.
Yep.
Enough of that bullshit.
Team's never cooked.
And I will say, credit to them, a lot of those fans came to us in the DMs and they were like, you're right, I'm sorry.
Yep.
But at 3-1 in the third period,
Dude,
I said, this feels like a classic cockroach game. They are going to fight back, and Carolina is going to squirm and fall apart. And Kreidy got that first goal in the third with, 14 minutes left?
Yeah, plenty of time. Yep.
Plenty of time left. And it was over from then.
Yep.
The second it was 3-2, I looked at Nikki, our buddy, and I was like, New York's winning this game.
Dude,
it was
to win that game in regulation
with significant time left.
is appalling.
I, obviously being hyperbolic and playing around, I was like, that is one of the worst chokes I've ever seen. It's obviously not one of the worst chokes I've ever seen, but I do want to say that was a bad choke.
It was horrible, dude.
Bad choke. You have this team with a tough history of heartbreak, and you have them on the ropes in Game 6, up 3-1 in the third period. If you win that game, they are miserable going back to New York in Game 7. To give up a natural hat trick to Chris Kreider, and I'm not saying you can't do that because Kreider's one of the great playoff performers in New York Rangers history.
The great.
Straight to the rafters. It's just that mentality where we're talking about Rod, where I'm like, how do you let that team fucking lose that game? You guys have to be kidding me. And the real devastating part of that game, you had Aho, you had Stahl, you had Svechnikov.
Yep.
Save for Jarvis, I think those are three of the best guys you could possibly want with a puck on their stick, nude in front of the net with a chance to just end it, kill them. And you couldn't do it. You couldn't finish.
Yep. Svechky's was to tie it, right?
Svechy, they were down 4-3,
his was
and then
to tie it.
Svechy,
But the other boys, they were up. They were up on
Aho was a
breakaway. Yeah.
Stahl, I think, was 3-2 or 3-1. Just nude in the slot. Puck was bouncing.
Yep.
I'll give him that. But that was brutal, dude. That was brutal. And on the flip side of it, Chris Kreider, greatest New York Ranger playoff player of all time.
God.
To just absolutely drop his ball bag on the ice and drag it around and score 3 unanswered goals and win that game 4-3. That was one of the coolest things these eyes have ever seen.
Dude, sometimes players will be like, they'll do a post game and they're doing and not the cup. The cup is that big, but they're doing the I don't know what to say, and there are no words type thing. Kreider's after he didn't know what to say. And I was like, I believe this. I believe this is the most authentic reaction. And he also, when he scored, I think it was the go-ahead one.
Yeah.
He is screaming.
Oh, it's his move.
And dude, that is just something you can't get from anything other than sports. No. And you having an iconic moment that is iconic already.
Yeah.
I was screaming at the TV too, because it was just so fucking sick to watch him become immortal in real time.
Yeah.
I mean, God,
it was just such a great moment for him, for the Rangers, and for us.
Yeah,
obviously as a personal friend and a truly wonderful person, I couldn't have been happier for him. But watching that team be down 3-1 in the third period of a game that's oh God, don't lose this game. After we have deemed them the cockroaches.
Yep.
They cannot be killed. They are invincible. To watch Kreider go, goal, regulation, goal, natural hat trick on away ice to just finish the Canes. God. And then to see the NHL tweet out, is Chris Kreider's number going straight to the rafters? After we said that preseason.
As we told you.
And got laughed at by some of you Rangers fans. And now everyone is like this, oh, nope, he is one of the greatest Rangers of all time. No question.
Yep.
And I think he is the best Rangers playoff performer of all time. To then see the photo of his neighbor throwing hats on his front lawn.
Thank you for bringing that up. I almost forgot.
Seeing that photo and just that moment. We talk about cup moments. When you look back, when you win the cup, when you're lifting the cup, and you look back at the road that got you there, that was a cup moment.
Dude, I actually had a dream the other night that we were flying to South Africa, and on the plane had all that space up front, and Kreider was with us, And I was like, "Oh, Crides, what's up, dude?" Because like I couldn't believe
Yeah.
he was coming to South Africa in the middle of the playoffs. And he's like, "Oh, no, how you doing? I'm good." And I was like, "How many hats were in the yard?" And he was like, "It was 20. It was 20 hats because." And I was like, "Oh, that's so cool." And then I'm just realizing now that was a dream. Like I when you brought that up, I was like, "Yeah, there were 20 hats on the yard." But then I was like, "Wait, that was a made up story that Kreider told me in a dream on a plane to South Africa."
Yeah.
Dude, couldn't agree more. He is the fucking man. That was so sick. I wish that had been Game 7 at MSG just because of how fucking pandemonium it would have been. You already touched on the Canes summer. I don't want to get into that again. I will say this about the Canes. And, yeah, you said we posted that. You posted that grid reaction. Emotions are high.
Yeah.
Ha, whatever. And all the Canes fans freaking out because their emotions were high, too, in
course.
response to that. I will say this, though, to you Canes fans. And I've talked to a few of them. My good buddy Scotty, who's an Avs fan, but he lives in Raleigh because we went to Duke together. He was like, the Canes just don't have the edge. Like, everything we said, Freddie Anderson, probably not going to be good enough. Canes don't have that extra gear in the playoffs. I just don't get here's the thing. The Canes are officially this to me. I don't want to hear a word from you ever again until you win the cup. I literally will not consider the Carolina Hurricanes a contender until they are hoisting the cup in the air, and then I'll go, actually, you were right. You are a contender because enough, dude.
Yeah.
I've had enough.
I completely agree with you, man. And there's I don't even want to get into the bad stuff because my follow-ups to that, I do mean it's like, guys, like we're a comedy sports podcast. Like we like having fun. We like joking around and being ridiculous and hyperbolic. I think the Canes are a phenomenal team. Obviously, could we love Seth Jarvis more?
No.
It's like those guys are amazing. So we're not being serious when we're like, you guys are assholes. We're just messing around. That said, the fan base and the Twitter admin, chill out.
Yeah.
Chill out with some of the jokes that you do. And no fan base is as bad as their worst parts. Every fan base on earth has terrible parts. But it's funny when they lose and we post that and there's just droves of racist, homophobic tweets coming our way. And I'm like, guys, we're just joking around about hockey right now. It's not that deep. Let's calm down. But I agree with you. It's
enough, dude.
You guys got to recalibrate here. It's enough's enough. You are that good that you need to perform. So,
and I was on them. I picked the Rags because I think the Rags are very good, but I was the one being like, the Canes are sick. People are sleeping on the Canes.
Yeah.
But you no longer have my vote. You no longer have my sword, my axe, or my bow until you at least win 2 Eastern Conference Finals games, and then someday the Fellowship will return.
And I'll finish it up by saying, King Cockroach over here. There's an argument to be made that the Hurricanes outplayed the Rangers literally every game of that series.
Absolutely.
Literally
I was saying that.
Every game. So,
but again,
you
lose.
That goes into what we said earlier. You lost 4 of those games. You idiots. So,
can't happen.
Let's get over that hump.
Taking a quick break from the pod to talk to you guys about Bauer Hockey, the #1 name in hockey, and specifically the #1 name in hockey training. You trying to level up your game like I am? Beer League hero over here trying to get a little bit better every day, then go to Bauer.com/training and check out the stuff they have there. They've got the Reactor slide board if you're trying to become a better skater, which I'm not because I'm probably the best skater I've ever met in my life. But if you were, you would check that out. If you want the digital Reactor dangler, you can improve that toe drag, which again, I don't need to do because I have the best toe I've ever seen in my life. But if you need help with that, that's what you do. And because Bauer loves you and because we love you, you can use promo code EMPTY, that's EMPTY, to get free shipping on your order.
All right, let's strap on the buckets and get into our Bauer Hockey Hot Ice. Quick, clean segments here. We're going over the conference finals of both, but we got a Game 7 tonight.
We got a Game 7, and you're going to be listening to this Tuesday. We already know who won. We don't know yet. We're going to be watching tonight. I love me a Game 7.
Yeah. I mean, come on. Everything on the line.
Yep. A lot on the line, by the way.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think so too. Vancouver, Edmonton, Game 7 tonight in Vancouver.
This went just like I said last step, by the way, where I said I love a split home team Game 7.
Yes.
And we got exactly that.
I mean, has this series not just been a game of ping pong?
Yep.
Back and forth. I was surprised. I wasn't surprised that Edmonton won. Edmonton's great. You knew Connor was going to bounce back after that kind of quiet Game 5. I was surprised with how significantly they won.
Yeah,
4-1.
That's the first blowout of the series, right?
Yeah.
Everything's been pretty close.
Yep.
Yeah.
She Love's been great.
Uh-huh. Did they crack him?
I don't think so.
Did they solve the spider?
You know, it's like Sway had one bad game
Yeah.
against Florida and then came back and pitched an insane performance. Like, I think She Loves can come back in this Game 7, especially at home with everyone behind him and be like, also, dude, the fans in this series have been awesome.
Well, dude,
these games are loud.
Oh, man, I took a picture of this.
These games are really loud.
This.
People are just singing at the top of their lungs in both of these barns. So much credit and love to both the Vancouver and Edmonton fans. Like this, I can't imagine how fun this has been for all the players, for all the fans. I mean, this has been a wild one.
It's been 20 years since two Canada-based NHL teams played each other in a Game 7 in front of a full arena
out
of
of
fans.
town.
The only asterisk there is
the lockout year.
Yes.
Or the
Toronto,
sorry, not lockout,
Montreal.
the COVID year.
Toronto, Montreal
COVID
played
year.
Game 7 in the first round because they were doing the Canadian bubble, 2021, but attendance was extremely limited because of COVID. 20 years since the Flames, prior to that, the Canucks played the Flames and the Maple Leafs played Ottawa in Game 7, 2004. The place is going to be rocking.
Bonkers.
So great call on that. Thanks for reminding me.
You obviously won't hear this until after, but that is it. This is a must-watch game. Can't wait for it. Truly can't wait for it. But yeah, I was surprised. It was not a blowout, but just like a very clear win. Game 7. No idea. I've got no idea. I've got no idea. What I really love here is I think Edmonton has to win.
Yeah, I know.
I think Edmonton has to win, regardless of everything that's gone on. I think Edmonton has to win with this McDavid, Draisaitl, with Hyman playing the way that he is. Also, my God, Zach Hyman, give the man every
insane,
flower that exists in Alberta. Because can you imagine, Chris, scoring 50 goals in an NHL season and have people from pundits to fans going like this? Fucking bullshit 50 goals, dude. Like, he's just tapping pucks in from McDavid. He's not that. I mean, I would be so annoyed. I'd be like,
I know.
I just scored you 50 goals, you fucking assholes. What are you possibly complaining about?
He knows where to be. He knows where to be.
And he's coming to these playoffs and just buries goals
like
as
10
well.
already, right?
Like he's just unreal. I said it before, he's the best contract in the NHL. With this group, those guys, Nuge, I just think you have to win this game. I don't even if it's against the number 1 seeded Vancouver Canucks. You can't be who you are and keep losing like this.
They're going Skinner again, which scares me, to be honest.
I loved the move by Knobloch putting him in Game 6, though. That was wild, and to have the 1 goal. Again, Vancouver's just not shooting
15 shots, but that's how I swear to God, that's how the
win.
Oilers have to win with Skinner in net. I think if they give up 35 shots to the Canucks, I think you're probably in trouble. But if they play the defensive game they play,
throw bodies in front of those pucks,
then maybe.
Yeah.
Man, I think I'm going Oilers too because of what you just said. They have to win.
Yeah,
they have to win more.
They
than
have
the
to
Canucks
win.
And it's hard to that. I don't think that it's win or go home for everybody. So the desperation levels are the same. But I'm just saying, I don't think the Canucks in their fabric know the torture that's going to go on in Edmonton if those guys lose again. So I think that's going to be hard.
Yeah, it's interesting because Connor needs to win this. And keep in mind, guys, when we're saying needs to win, like Connor's 27 years old. We obviously know that. We're just saying because of all the chatter about it, the pressure on a guy, this good. He's the best player in the world. He's 27. He's come close. It's like you gotta keep going. You gotta get there. And I say that in a motivating way. And I know that's exactly how he feels. He's like, I want to win a fucking cup right now.
Yep.
But it's like he needs it. Draisaitl needs it. Skinner needs this.
God.
Like if Skinner loses this game, we've got 2 years in a row now of like he is not
second
the guy.
round Skinner.
Like,
There he is. There's second round Skinner.
Right. And then on the other side of it, I said to you and Laz, and Johnny was he wasn't like, what? He was just like, oh, wow, like, I like that take. Interesting take. I was like, this Vancouver team is Western Conference Finals or bust. You remember when I said that?
Yeah, absolutely.
I was like, that is what they're thinking. They're not thinking, oh, we're all young. Only a few of us have ever been in the playoffs. Whatever happens, happens. Ha, ha, ha. I'm like, no. Wire to wire, best team in the West. You got to get to the Western Conference Finals. And I think they're thinking that. And I think with Shelov's getting in net and being this good, they're going, we don't have a goalie excuse anymore.
Yeah.
We can't be like this, oh, Demko's out, so like whatever, what do you expect from us?
Yeah.
Shelovs has played enough games. He's taken Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl and Zach Hyman to Game 7 of the second round. They're like, that's not an excuse. So we got to win too. They're the higher seed. They're on home ice.
Yeah.
Both these teams we've got to win this game. So I think this is going to be a barn burner. I like your Edmonton call. It feels that's what I want to do too. And I think I am. I think Edmonton takes it. But I will say, kind of unexpectedly for me, Vancouver's been the bullies in this series. I look at how like fast, young, and skilled they are, and I was like, I don't really think they're going to be that, but they've totally been the bullies.
You're right. Great call.
You know, like Zadorov and Saucy have been huge in that. PD throwing that reverse check, which was the weirdest call I've ever seen in my life.
What was that?
Well, it's just he left his feet, so I'm actually not that mad at it. But like calling it a charge was weird to me.
Also, he doesn't move forward at all.
At all.
Like, if I saw someone coming and jumped, which is like, you shouldn't jump, but if I saw someone coming and like jumped in the air away from them and got hit, do I get a charging call?
I thought it was a bad call, more so a weird call, but whatever. But like, that was a weird call.
Yeah.
But like, he was throwing the ball. He had a great game 5. And seeing these guys, you know, being pretty feisty, going into a home barn in Game 7, I'm like, they could bully their way to a win here. So I just can't.
They got to get up. They got to get up early if they're going to do it.
Let's get into our predictions of the two. Let's start with the Eastern Conference
because that one we know.
Yeah, that one we know. Florida Panthers
Rags
at New York Rangers.
Hold on, I got to think about what I'm going to say because I just don't know. I know what
Take your time.
I know what I want. Or no, that's wrong phrasing. I know what I said previously. So I feel beholden to that, but also feels like something's happening. Something's gonna happen. Something is gonna happen, and I gotta do it. Shit. Okay, I'm ready.
You ready?
I'm gonna regret this. I'm ready.
Wow. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Rangers
Panthers
in 7.
in 6.
6?
Just because of the home ice. Dude.
Jesus Christ.
Let me just say something before we even dive in. My pre-playoff start of playoffs pick was Panthers Stars, which I'm not saying like credit to me, like those were two of probably the best teams. So like it's not like I'm a fucking genius, but that was my pick, and I just as a man of integrity, I felt the need to stick to that pick. You brought something up earlier though, and if the Rangers had just kind of had I'll say it this way. You brought something up earlier. Sometimes in a playoff run, things are just happening that are a part of the DVD. We always call it, you get the championship DVD as the fan.
Cup moments,
The DVD moment, the cup moment. And the Rangers are having a lot of those. And the natural hat trick is where you brought it up, just an iconic moment. The Trocheck picture, just like there are too many things happening that for this to not be, it's like the year and I know we lost the cup that year, but the Bergeron comeback against the Leafs. I'm like, you have to go to the cup now because like, what are we talking about here? Yeah. So I know I have just made a grave error by not picking the Rangers because they're having too many cup moments. And there's time for the Panthers to have cup moments, and the Panthers are a great team, by the way. And I think the fact that you even said 7, Mr. Cockroach over here, shows that this is going to be a very tough series. But I'm sticking with Panthers in 6 just because I said it previously, but I know I'm a fool. I'm a royal fool already.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I'm riding my boys. I'm riding on I am the Roach King. I'm riding on a river of cockroaches. How
many cockroaches do you think it would take to carry you?
I think you'd be disgusted with it not being that
4.
many. Yeah, they're like ants.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking.
The Rangers team has just they have answered every question for me. They've answered every question. The Hurricane series is interesting because you wanted them to battle through some adversity. They did technically.
Yep.
But I do, being a Rangers fan here right now, I do think the Carolina Hurricanes lost that series more than the Rangers won it.
Yeah.
And the Florida Panthers aren't a team that's going to do that. You faced a Charlie Lindgren, who was a very surprising goalie. You faced a Freddie Anderson, who's a very good goalie, but he is who he thought he was. You are now facing one of the best goalies in the league.
Yep.
It's going to be a very tough matchup. But like I said, this Rangers team has just answered every question. I think 5v5 is going to determine this series. Rangers lost 5v5 to the Hurricanes. So I need them to clean that up.
Yeah, because I will say the Rags, we keep saying we're 3-3 power play PK. Canes were 1-2.
Yeah.
And that was a gargantuan swing in that series.
That was the worst power play performance in NHL history I've ever seen from the Canes. Like, that was just insane.
And then the Panthers are like, I wrote it down, but they're like 6th and 8th on the power play and PK. Like, they're a little bit worse than the Rangers in both, but are dangerous at times. They slowed down a little bit during the Bs, but that has to be kept in control.
Totally.
If you're the Panthers.
Totally.
Yep.
What's one of the big knocks on this Rangers team the last 4 years? They're not tough enough. They can't get in the gritty battles. I think they've answered that question. I think that awesome mayhem at MSG against the Devils was a great moment. That scares me against this Florida team. Yeah. I said there is no one in the league will win a mud fight against the Florida Panthers. Mm-hmm. You simply will not.
Yep.
So I don't want a mud fight in this series. I want good, clean hockey, and I want the Rangers to come out on top. So
it's cool because the Rags, like we keep saying, are the cockroaches, and the Panthers, though, are the Bussin' 10 boys. You know, like they are king clutch, king cockroach versus king clutch.
Well, it's rats versus roaches, dude.
Rats versus roaches, living in the sewers.
Yes, dude.
The Eastern Conference Finals takes place in the sewers.
Yes, with the Ninja Turtles, dude. It's in New York too. There's just a lot going on.
The thing that scares me if I'm a Rags fan is Matthew Tkachuk gave a post game after Game 6 against the Boston Bruins, which I was still watching because I was mourning. I was going through my process.
Yeah,
you know how I do that. I just like to absorb all the destruction.
Sure do.
So I'm talking about, or they asked him a question that was something like, it was some question about like beating Boston again or whatever, and getting back to these conference finals. And he's made a comment where he was like, "We touched the cup last year and then got too hurt and couldn't win." And I'm not saying Vegas. He didn't say that. This is what happened. They got so close to the cup last year, got too hurt, couldn't win it. And then what his comments was he said, "We showed up day 1 of training camp this year, literally talking about one thing: we will remedy that. I will never feel that way again. We were winning the cup this year." And some teams across all pro sports, you lose in the final and you have this horrible relapse. You're terrible for a few years. You can't overcome that. And some teams are like, "I am winning next year because of what just happened." And that was how I thought the Panthers were going to be all year. I picked them preseason to be like, "Yo, they are going right back." And hearing him, and not that like that's not news to anybody that they feel that way, but just hearing him talk about it publicly, being like, that is all this locker room thinks about, is getting back to the cup and finishing the job this year. That is what's scary about this Panthers team.
Yeah, I
think they're nasty, but I think the Rangers are nasty too. It's just that's an emotion, and the Rangers have been close for sure. But just that's an emotion that's like, fuck, dude, they want it maybe more than you can fathom.
Yeah, they're a good matchup. Panthers won 2 of the 3 games they played. Rangers won in a shootout, I think.
Pretty late in the year, so that was a good game.
Yep.
But took 2 or 3.
They both have good power play, good PK. Like, this is honestly, Carolina's great. To me, 4 months ago, you looked at the Eastern Conference and you were like, this is the Eastern Conference.
These 2 teams. Yep.
So it's pretty exciting.
Glad we got it.
It's pretty exciting to see it happen.
Yep.
It's really electric stuff. So I think this is, I know it ended in 6. Actually, I was about to say, no, I'm going to stand by it. I know it ended in 6. Colorado-Dallas has been the best series so far for me of these playoffs. It feels crazy to say that because I think this Vancouver-Edmonton one has been unreal.
Yep.
But just like I said earlier, the speed of which those 2 teams were playing, I thought that was really the Western Conference Finals. Even after I was like, Dallas-Vegas is, and then I was like, oh no, it's Dallas.
Yeah, right.
So I think this series coming up is going to be fireworks.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
We're going to do both Western Conference Finals
back to
options. Back. Let's do Dallas, Vancouver first because both of us don't even believe that's going to be the case.
Okay. And then do you want to explain or do you want to
No,
give
I'm going to talk about it just in case.
Oh yeah, okay. All right.
So do you know what your decision
do.
is? Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Dallas
Stars
and
and 6. Yep.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
I think the cup participant from the West has come from this side the whole time. It was going to be Dallas or Vegas. It was going to be Dallas or Colorado. It's going to be Dallas this time. I don't know what more I need to say. The depth of this team is astounding. It has shown up every single step of the way. You had guys who were quiet, like Stank getting on the board, guys like Ben and Sagan getting on the board. Pavelski finally got on the board.
Yeah.
The biggest thing, Dutchy on the board. The biggest thing is Otter. Otter is playing like the Otter we always wanted him to be. And I think, save for Swayman, Otter has been the best goalie in these playoffs.
Yep.
And
Dallas won 2 or 3 regular season.
Yep.
Dallas has a reasonably strong power play, reasonably strong PK. Vancouver didn't have a great either.
Yep.
We've watched Vancouver struggle to even get shots on net against a Nashville team that was actively trying to take that away, and then against an Edmonton team that, when they feel like it, tries to take that away.
Yeah.
Chris Tanev eats pucks for fucking breakfast, lunch.
What does he eat for dinner?
Pucks.
Is it pucks?
It is pucks. Yeah. And then when he wakes up in the middle of the night hungry, he has more pucks.
Yeah.
That's all he eats.
Yeah.
The Vancouver Canucks might get 8 shots a game against the Dallas Stars.
I mean, you got that. You got Miro, too, who just does it on both ends.
Demko could be back, though.
I think you ride She Loves.
If he has a great Game 7 win, I think you kind of have to.
I mean, if he wins.
With a quick trigger,
7,
though. Quick hook.
Yeah, it's ready.
Yeah, I think he gets a quick hook if Demko's like,
he already might be hooked.
I'm back.
And now it's like I'm going to start reeling.
Think how hard it is to play with that hook.
I'm going to start reeling
yeah.
if you mess up here.
If Demko's 100%, which we don't know. But if he is, he could be back. That's a huge factor.
Yep.
That's why I'm going 6. And I actually think the depth of Vancouver is valuable versus the depth. Because Dallas is just rolling lines, but Vancouver can kind of do that with
Vancouver has good depth. Yep. Absolutely. But, yeah, I just think Dallas – I think this is a – this team, the leadership of this team in Quinn, in Besser, in Petey, JT, first time they're in playoffs together.
And they're showing some fight, dude.
And they're showing some great fight.
Awesome.
Getting past Nashville was huge. Getting to Game 7 against Edmonton's huge. And if they win that game and then end up playing Dallas, I just think it's going to be like we made it here.
Yeah.
And Dallas is going to go, and you'll die with honor.
Yeah. I'll send you back on your shield.
Yes. That's what I think.
Do it.
Dallas, Edmonton.
You ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1.
Dallas
Stars
in 5.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't think you were going to say that, dude.
I'm sorry, Edmonton. I know you. If and when, like we both think, Edmonton wins this Game 7, and you get here, your Edmonton fans are going to hear this and go, "You fucking hate the Oilers." Yep. And I just
these guys hate the Oilers.
To me, you know what I said? Someone said to us in the DMs the other day, talking about the Rangers Cats series, and they were like, "Igor can steal games," and I was like, "Bob can steal games."
Yeah.
And then I was like, "Wait, you know what? The 3 goalies that are currently already in the conference finals can all steal games. I do not believe Skinner can steal a game.
Dude, of course not. No offense.
I just – and it's not to say he can't eventually, but currently I have not seen anything that makes me think he can steal a game. And when you get to the Western Conference Final, you need a goalie who is a weapon.
Yep.
Or at least playing like a weapon. And Skinner's not doing that right now. So I just think that team is going to – that team, who also, to your point, is having games where they're getting shots in the teens against Vancouver. And I'm like, what do you think is going to happen against Dallas?
Insane, dude.
So I don't think Edmonton – I don't think they can hang with Dallas at all. And I think that depth matchup is incredibly lopsided.
That's my biggest thing. The Oilers are so top-heavy. Dallas is just going to bombard them over and over. The Oilers win that series if – Skinner plays great, but if Leon and McDavid go absolutely nuclear, or there is a massive special teams discrepancy.
Isn't it crazy that the Oilers, to win in the playoffs, rely so often on Leon and Connor going God mode, and that is their norm.
Yeah.
Like they win so often because I'm like, these two
they can
guys
do that.
are just inhuman.
Yep.
Leon, what did he just do? He just got to 100 points.
He's like
I saw something that. Fastest to 100 points
He's a
in the
ridiculous
playoffs.
Company. But yeah, that's there's just such a major goalie advantage, I think, in the Stars' direction. The Stars are with a top seed. I think they won 2 of 3, right? Let me see. I wrote that down too. Stars, they won 4-3 at Edmonton. They lost 4-3 in Dallas, and then they won 5-0 in Dallas. They are the stronger team everywhere except for 2 dudes.
Yeah. Sorry, just real quick. Leon Draisaitl has 39 goals, 61 assists, and a plus-minus of +12 in 60 games in his playoff career.
Yeah.
So
tremendous playoff.
He has 100 points in 60 games.
Tremendous playoff performer. And that's what they need. That's what they need. And I just don't think if they even get by Vancouver, I don't think they can get that enough out of them. And maybe, actually, no, I think 5 was right. Maybe 5 is harsh, I was going to say, and like those boys can get you 2. But I just think the Stars, too much. It's just too much.
It's just a lot. I just think this Stars team is clearly clicking, and I think they're too much.
I said before the playoffs started, this is a cup team.
Yeah.
And Dallas knows they have a cup team.
Yeah.
And you hate wasting years when you have a cup team. So, and especially, dude, to quote the late great Herb Brooks, after the U.S. beat the Russians in 1980 and then they played Finland in the pseudo gold medal game because it was weird back then. But they said, if you lose this game, you will take it to your fucking grave. If you get through Vegas and Colorado and then lose to fucking Edmonton or Vancouver, you will take it to your fucking grave.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely agree.
Yep.
All right, that is it for our Bauer Hockey Hot Ice. All right, guys, it's conference finals time, and you know what that means. You've got to dial into the BetMGM situation we got going on right now. You know that we've teamed up with BetMGM all season long, and they have the best possible situation for any hockey fan or any sports fan in general. You're going to get $1,500 to play around with. $1,500 to make your picks, make your bets, and here's the deal. If you lose that, you get it all back from BetMGM. So you're going to go on and you're going to put in promo code NETTERS right now and get yourself set up on BetMGM and make sure you get in on all the action across the board, but especially the Western Conference and Eastern Conference finals we got coming up for the NHL. It is a no-brainer. Join the team with BetMGM with us right now. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Available in the U.S. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 in New York. Call 1-800-327-5050 in Massachusetts. 21 plus only. Please gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP in Arizona. 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. 1-800-981-0023 in Puerto Rico or visit www.1800gambler.net in West Virginia. First bet offer for new customers only. Subject to eligibility requirements. Bonus bets are non-withdrawable in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. See BetMGM.com for terms. U.S. promotional offers not available in New York, Nevada, North Carolina, Ontario, or Puerto Rico. So let's wrap up this episode with our saucy predictions, and I just would like to say this. You are a son of a bitch, dude.
Scumbag, dude.
So we're not gonna.
Scumbag.
We're at this amazing studio. We're guests here, so we're not going to bring in our nuclear hot sauce and eat it in here. We're gonna hop on the story later, and that's when we'll do our saucy predictions. We're gonna say them here, but we're gonna eat for our saucy predictions on the story. I correctly last week after Val went out, I got to pick a new saucy prediction.
Yeah. Oh, right.
I picked that one of the 4 series would go to Game 7.
Yep.
And then you, like an asshole, forced me to change it to all 4.
Yep.
And what happened, Chris?
1 went to Game 7.
So I'm going to eat, but this is horseshit.
Dude, can I say something that is the truth, and you can choose to acknowledge that I'm telling the truth, or you can lie to everybody on camera.
Well, I don't want to lie,
but this is true.
Okay.
When you said, my prediction is we get 1 Game 7.
Yeah.
You were talking about the 3 series that were all in Game 6. Deep down, that's a fact. You weren't even we weren't even talking about Vancouver Edmonton because that was 2-2 somewhere else. We had 3 series going to Game 6, and you said 1 will go to Game 7, and that's what you were talking about.
Wrong.
No, that is a fucking fact, dude.
Wrong.
That is a fucking fact.
I said,
and then none of them did, so you would have lost anyway.
What are you talking about? I said 1 of the remaining series.
You were talking about those 3, and then you said when I said. What about all of them? And you said 3. I was like, or 4, dude, because there's another series.
No, I didn't say 3. You didn't say or 4, reminding me there were still 4 series going on.
You were talking about those 3. I'm going to pull up the tape, dude.
I said I don't want to lie, and I'm not lying.
I'll pull up the tape. You were talking about those 3. You would have lost anyway. None of them did. And then
I would have won because I said 1. And 1 happened.
Okay, well, that's a lie. You're lying. And also,
this is bullshit, dude. You like the fact that, first of all, you cheated. Cheetah! You cheated and got me to lose. So like just accept your slimy victory. Yep. Don't also try to now claim...
You also lost with Val. Like that was a prediction you made, and you lose.
No.
And dude,
you ever heard of a no contest?
Dude, and yet again with mine, I have never seen anything like my run of saucy predictions where it's like,
oh, boo-hoo. Oh, bad beat CP.
Yeah,
oh, this happened. Shut up, dude. You're the poorest winner of all time.
Yeah, I lost. I said the Canes would force
That's what I'm
a game
saying.
7.
You never actually won, and I did this and I did that. Shut up.
It's a poor loser. Gotta lose. But, dude, can you imagine saying the Canes are going to force Game 7 is my prediction, and then they're up 3-1 in the third period and blow it? And I'm like, the most typical thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, it's brutal. So we're both eating.
Yep.
Do you have your saucy prediction?
I do. Matthew Tkachuk, scoreless, beltless in the Bruins series.
Oh, my god.
Did not do it. Did not get on the board. A bunch of assists, 5, I think, 4 or 5. Beltless against the Bruins.
Don't even wear a belt.
Doesn't even wear a belt. Didn't even wear a belt against the Bruins. Against the Rangers, I'm pretty sure we were going to have seen 3 games by the time this next Monday ep comes around.
Probably.
He will have 3 goals. 4 goals.
No, a 3 is okay.
Goal per game.
A goal per game in the Eastern
Conference
Conference Finals, that's fantastic.
3 goals.
That's saucy.
And he can have a Hattie in game 1 and nothing, but like 3
That's
goals.
certified saucy.
3 goals after 3 games.
Okay, my saucy prediction. Regardless of who wins tonight in Game 7 against the Canucks and Oilers, Jake Ottinger in Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals will give up 1 or less goals.
Okay. I love that for him. 1 or less.
1 or less.
That's saucy enough for me.
That's saucy.
Yep, that's saucy enough for me.
All right, those are saucy predictions. That is it for us at the Empty Netters podcast today here in this wonderful New York studio. We will be on NHL's YouTube TV and YouTube live every single night starting on Wednesday for both conference finals games. Tune in, watch with those, have a blast with us. You will see us in our regularly scheduled programming episodes on Friday and Tuesday for the rest of playoffs. Unbelievable stuff coming. We're going to be in New York City. We're going to do some hangs, some chills. Come join us. And until then,
skate hard.